Hi, this is Delane England. I am with the Loving Liberty Network and also the founder of Principal Liberty Foundation. And we're so happy to have you join us. We are going to be discussing how to be an effective citizen lobbyist. And so, of course, today we have with us one of the most absolute women who knows how to lobby because she's been a representative and she was one of the most amazing representatives ever, Representative Kim Coleman. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have Kim join us because she was a great citizen lobbyist before she was a legislator, which is why she ran for the legislature. And she has given so much to our community and she has an amazing voting record. And we're very thrilled to have her with us and really grateful to get her insight and her perspective. We're also joined by Corinne Johnson. Welcome, Corinne.
Hi, Delane.
Hi,
Kim.
So Corinne is the founder of Utah Parents United, and also Corinne, I didn't write it down, and I can't remember the other organization you started.
I have a Facebook group, DSD Parents Focused on Choice in Education.
Right. So she has been very, very involved as a parent. And what we want to do is help citizens know how the process works and how to get involved, because our government is for the people and by the people. And it is amazing that we have so much power in this state and in this country, but if we have to pick up the tools and we have to use them. So we're going to jump right in and get started. Kim, what would you say tell us what's the process of a bill? What does a bill go through in order to get passed or to get killed?
So think back to the old Schoolhouse Rock video, I'm Just a Bill. And if you want to go watch that, it really is that's a pretty simplified explanation. Bills have to pass both the House and the Senate and then be signed by the governor. But between all those points, there's a whole lot of other little decision-making points. So the legislature will handle somewhere around 12 to 1,500 bills. Will start the process. And it's just not feasible for legislators to consider all 1,000+ bills in 45 days. So the very first step is these bills get split up into committees that are subject area committees. And for Corinne, for example, she might follow the education committee where there's going to be bills that she's interested in. But so a bill typically has to be passed in a House committee and a Senate committee. When that happens, they go to the whole floor of the House, the whole floor of the Senate to be passed. And once it passes and it crosses over to the other chamber, it starts that process all over again. So again, at every single point, you as a citizen can insert your voice. You can call the committee members or contact the committee members, and we'll talk about how to do that. But contact the committee members, tell them how you feel. Then when it goes to the full floor, contact your representatives at that point.
Okay, excellent.
So I hear a lot of questions from parents in my group, especially as we are getting engaged and involved in the legislative process. And one of them is, what does it mean when a bill is like stuck in House rules or in the rules portion of this process?
Okay, so the Rules Committee is the committee where bills go to die. And that is an expression that you hear at the state legislative level and at the congressional level. And it's not an intuitive name for the committee, Rules Committee. It sounds like, somebody's making and imposing a bunch of rules, but really what it is it is the basket, it is the hopper that all bills go to first. And that committee is the most powerful, is regarded as the most powerful committee in Congress or in the legislature, because that committee gets to decide if that bill ever gets life. It may sit in there forever. Those committee members will have to nominate a bill to leave its committee and start the process. So even though a bill will be announced on the floor of the House, it goes to that Rules Committee where it may not ever experience life. So that is one decision-making point. And not only does that committee decide if the bill gets to move forward, but they get to choose what committee it goes to. And that is a lot of strategy. So I have had bills that maybe the Rules Committee's not excited about. And so they want to take my bill and put it in a committee where it's more likely to fail. Or they love my bill, so they're going to put it in a committee that they know it's more likely to pass. Typically, a bill gets assigned to a subject area committee that just makes sense. An education bill goes to the education committee, but a lot of bills really could fit multiple committees, and that's where some strategy comes in. As a legislator, I'm lobbying the committee and telling them, please get my bill out, let's get it going, and make sure you send it to that committee, because that's the committee that's going to understand the bill. I had free speech bills on college campuses. So you might think the education committee would be appropriate, or judiciary. The judiciary committee frequently handles constitutional rights or court issues, things like that. So I don't want that committee to send my bill to an unfavorable committee. So that's one decision-making point. I, as a legislator, was lobbying that committee to get my bill out. That's a point where you can also lobby the committee. I think the most effective thing to do with the Rules Committee is lobby your own rep or your own senator and say, hey, this bill is important to us. Will you please get it out and get it started in the process? The citizens are ready to work that bill. Does that make sense? So yeah, that Rules Committee, and I'll tell you, had a Senate Rules Committee chair that just made a declaration. He didn't like me, didn't like my bills. And he sat on my bills despite the fact that the House was very favorable to them. They passed through the House and then they died. I had bills just die in his committee.
Okay, we won't ask for any names, but thanks for that explanation. Okay, so then citizens can lobby as well as legislators. Citizens then are able to lobby the Rules Committee. So obviously there's a Rules Committee in the House. There's also a Rules Committee in the Senate. So citizens can go to both of those committees, and then they can ask them to get these bills out and say, please forward them. And then let's talk about how we find out who is on the Rules Committee for both the House and the Senate.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and just walk you through how some of this works. The URL is utah.le.gov, but if you're me, I just always Google Utah Legislature and go right to the Utah Legislature home. So some find this intuitive and some don't. So let's just walk through. Right there on the top dashboard are your committees. And most people don't know what's an appropriations, commissions, interim, standing committee. So most of the committees that are being held during the legislative session, they are called standing committees. And you can scroll through these. Here are the House committees, and then finally there's the House Rules Committee. And let's see who the members are right here. Timothy Hawks, Davis County area. Okay. He is the grand poobah. He's the chair of the committee. He's very
there you go
person right there. It's going to have a mix of Republicans and Democrats, with a majority of Republicans, because Republicans do hold the majority in both houses. So you could lobby any of these people. Again, if one of those is your rep, that's great. I think the best thing to do when it's in Rules Committee is have your own personal elected rep, then lobby that committee. Okay. It's pretty functional for the members of the legislature, but this is a point that this decision is made. So the sponsors of the bill really are trying to guide their own bills. So you don't want to go sideways of a sponsor and say, send it to this committee when he's trying to get it to another committee. He or she is probably has a better understanding of which committee it should go to. But if you just simply want it pulled out of the Rules Committee and get it going, then lobby your rep or any of these people on the committee to get it going. get it out. So let me just back out of that. So that's how you find your committees, who's on the committee.
And Tim, if I can just mention, if you click on their name, it will bring up their email and their phone number. If you click on Timothy Hawks or whatever person, you click on it and then their contact information comes up. And so that way you can find out how to contact them if you should need to. But as you're saying, really what you want to do is, generally speaking, contact the legislator that's sponsoring the bill or your legislator and have them that rules committee.
Yes.
Okay, great information.
So this is super helpful. There's a lot of things I'm learning in this training, and I think this will be super beneficial for my parents. Real quick, now we've found a bill, we're doing our lobbying, we're going to our legislature, but a lot of people want to know what is the most effective way to lobby the legislature. And being a legislator yourself, I figure you're the perfect person to give us some tips and some insight in how to be effective in the work that we do. It takes a lot of time, and people are concerned that, if they've never done this before, that it's worth their time and effort and energy. And I assure them that it is, but we'd love to hear from you what is effective.
Okay, let's start with some basic understanding that that legislators are not special. They are just people. There are a few of them that I hate to say that to, but really, legislators in our republic form of government, it was really intended that regular people go serve their community and represent the regular people of their community. And so overwhelmingly, most of the people that I worked with are just people with time and desire to roll up their sleeves. Frequently, like in my case, I was asked by my community to go represent us. And so people really do take that very seriously, that they are truly representing the people. They want to hear from you. And you're not always going to get your way, because they are listening to 40,000 people or some portion of 40,000 people that they represent. But make your voice heard. And so I want to just impress upon you, first, they're not special. They're just regular people. And you don't have to be polished. And I frequently, when people, they want to speak to the committee, they just get so nervous. And public speaking is one of the top fears that people have. And I wish I could help people just relax when they call me, when they come and speak in front of the committee, is we don't care. We really just don't care. If you're eloquent in your words and if you have a big vocabulary, we just don't. We just want to talk to you and have you talk to us. And so get over that, whatever fear you have, just please just relax and just talk to us. So every rep is going to have a different preferred method of communication. For me, it was text messaging. You can find my phone number all over the place, and I wanted you to text. During the legislative session, we have interns, and you can find a number for interns. But here's the biggest tip along those first two. You want to talk to the intern. Do not be offended if an intern calls you back. You want the intern. I had amazing interns. Every one of my 6 interns were fantastic. They were in my head, but most importantly, when they're checking my email, so am I. I really rarely let an intern answer for me, but they're at least reading my emails and helping me understand what people are talking about. The intern is going to do some homework. If you call my intern and say, hey, I'm concerned about HB 117, I might not have seen that bill yet. I might not know anything about it, but my intern is getting on it. And she's going to understand what that bill is and what your issue is. And when the time is right, she's going to impart information to me. So you really, really want the staff. You really want the intern. I've also learned that's the same for Congress. I don't want to talk to Senator Mike Lee. I want to talk to his staffer named Joel when I need my airport issue handled, because Joel is the expert on the Federal Aviation Administration. So I don't want Mike Lee, sorry. I want his staff. So this is important to know, just don't be offended by that. Now, here's key number 4. If you are a constituent, you let your rep know that. I am gonna prioritize a constituent 100% of the time. My constituents who put me in that office, they're my boss first. And so put in the subject line of an email, add it to your text message, leave it in a voicemail, let the intern know I'm a constituent of District 42. That makes your message rise right to the top of everything. You're more important than the lobbyists, than people outside of the district. But if you have a bill that you care about that's in a committee that your representative isn't in, still feel free to contact those representatives. They won't get top priority, but we realize that bills that we pass impact every person in the state. Typically, we don't pass bills for a city or a neighborhood. We pass them for the whole state. So we recognize that. We want to hear from you. Just understand the most effective thing is to work through your representative and your senator. That's how our government was created to work. Does that help?
That's awesome. Thank you.
Okay,
and be respectful. I would get emails that would say, you're stupid, and if you vote against this bill, I'm coming after you and you'll never be elected again. I see a lot of that happening with some Congress people right now. Yeah, it's not helpful. It doesn't make me want to call you back. So, just some basic respect, some basic rules of polite conversation. It's helpful.
that is such good advice, Kim, because we can get really frustrated sometimes with our elected officials and feel like they're not listening to us. But one thing, and we get frustrated sometimes when we feel like they don't call us back or they don't respond quickly. But what I want people to understand is legislators, in Utah, we have a 45-day legislative session from the end of January to the very 1st of March. And it's 45 days is counting Saturday and Sunday. So really it's only 33 days in session. And a lot has to happen. And the bill literally gets voted on at least 4 times. And so legislators have to do at least 2 to 3 things at once. You're in there on the floor or in committee listening to bills, and then you're supposed to be answering emails and texts from your constituents, or they might be standing out in the hallway saying, come out and talk to me. So you're trying to listen to the bills on the floor, and then you're trying to go out and talk to constituents or lobbyists or people that are out in the hallway, which I guess, I don't know if they're there right now, but and you're trying to get ready to prepare your bill ready to go, prepare your bill to go.
Yeah, I'm lobbying myself too. I mean,
Right.
I have bills that I'm trying to get pushed. I have bills I don't like, I'm trying to lobby against too. So we're also very actively lobbying. Here's another thing, don't write a book. I don't have time to read a book. So make your communication as succinct, get to the point. If you really have more details you want to share, that's where, the intern may call you back and get more details, but just kind of get to the point as fast as you can. And that's what's going to make me keep reading your email. So
how do you respond to like form emails or emails that seem to have, like pre-given wording to them? Like, do those work, but they should add a personal message or like scratch that whole idea? What are your thoughts?
It all works. It's all communication. There are organizations that if they're kind of supporting the citizenry to advocate for legislation, that sometimes they'll have a form letter, or you can even just drop your name in a form on their websites that then gets pushed to us. It's all communication. So, with those, I don't always get back, and it's a struggle during the 45 days to write everybody back. But I can promise you that I read everything, even if I didn't get back to you. And So no, all of it's communication. And, you know, frequently for my interns, I would just say, watch the email. Is there something trending? Is there some bill out there that's getting a lot of attention I need to be aware of? And so even those form letters are very effective to let me know, okay, there is an issue that a lot of people care about.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, so just to remind everybody, so Kim, you're saying that people can email you, obviously. They can also send texts, and they can also make phone calls. So it just depends on the person. As far like each legislator might prefer a different form of communication, and also a person may prefer to communicate with you in one way or another. Is that correct?
Right, right. You know, for me, emails can just get buried, and it's just an extra step to kind of go through email, open things up, see where they are. Text messaging, I just, you know, much preferred. It's real time, it's happening now. And, you know, it can even happen while a committee meeting is happening, while we're hearing a bill. And I've found that very, very effective. Someone's presenting a bill, and then I'm getting a text that says, hey, look, this is how this is going to affect my business. And so that's kind of real time, lots of collaboration on these things.
So how do we watch that so we can be involved in that process of watching it in committee or watching it on the floor and engaging in that way?
Okay, why don't we do that real quick? Let me show you what this looks like. So when you go back to just that main page, there's a calendar. If you click on calendar, this is Wednesday, and you can see in green, these are the committees that are happening right now. Appropriations committee, those are the money committees. Those are committees that are deciding how much of your money is going to go where in government services. So if you notice right now, let's see, let's go to higher education. I have the option of reading, and I have the option of just watching this. So I clicked on this arrow because it's a very, very transparent government. It really is. Okay, let me mute. It really is the work of the people, and you can log on anytime and watch these committee meetings happening live. Typically right now, the agencies are demonstrating to the Higher Education Appropriations Committee how awesome they are, what they're doing with their money, how they're this is we lovingly called the dog and pony show. But anyway, you can log on from anywhere, watch this, listen to it. If you can't get it live, then it's all archived. You can go back and click on it later and see. So as a citizen, if you want to know what's happening in the higher education committees, what we're spending on colleges, you can look at the agenda, see what's on the agenda today. Mountainland Technical College, again, Dixie College, Davis Tech, Bridger, they're all telling the committee how awesome they are and how well they handled your money, because they're going to come back next week and ask for a whole lot more. Now, okay, so this is new this year. Let me move you guys. If you want to participate in the virtual meeting, this is the place you would click on that, and you're going to show up as a participant there. And there will be a time in the meeting where they will ask, is there anyone from the public who would like to speak? And that's where, typical to your Zoom meetings or whatever platform this is, you would click to raise your hand, and then you would be recognized. Normally you would sit in the committee and approach the dais when it's time for public comment. Again, if you're not going to participate sort of in the real-time portion of the meeting, you can continue to text and email the reps that are on that committee and your own reps. So this is definitely a way. Now, this committee doesn't handle bills. They just talk about the money. If we were to go and see what's going to come up this afternoon, you'll notice that there's floor time. That's when everybody in the House, everybody in the Senate, they are on the big floor. That's where they start all collectively voting on the bills that have already been to a committee. I'm just going to click on the House Judiciary Committee, where again, you can see who the members are off to the side. You can see the members of the committee. We can also see what the agenda is for today, and see if these are any bills you care about. Juvenile sentencing amendments, post-conviction remedies. Judiciary deals a lot with the courts. And if you want to see what that bill is, you'd click on the bill. Sponsor is Craig Hall. And there's a title for the bill, but then there's a long title that's going to tell you a little bit more about the bill. And then it's going to give you kind of a bullet list of the main things that are in the bill. And if that seems interesting to you, go to the tracking page, and then you're going to be able to give your email if you want to track that bill. And then if you do that, then every time something happens with that bill, you're going to get an email. You're going to be notified. It just got read into the Rules Committee. When the Rules Committee assigns it to a committee, you'll get that notice that this bill is going to go to the Judiciary Committee. When it gets put on an agenda, so they're going to actually discuss the bill now, you'll get a notification that the bill is going to be on the Friday agenda. If the bill passes or fails, you'll get notice that, you know, something has happened to the bill. When it's now going to the floor, you'll get notifications. So this is a way that you can start tracking the things that you care about. And that is if you know that there's a particular bill. If you're not sure if there's a bill, but you care about just a subject area and you care about education bills, you can just search those bills and see how many bills there are for this session. And typically there might be a couple of hundred, at least dozens and dozens of education bills. So you can kind of glance through and start looking at what the bills are that are out there.
Hey, this is super awesome, Kim, because the tracking is especially really great for our group and parents, because we're kind of going to show them and track and let them know these are some of the bills that we're seeing issues with, and that they can get all those emails and they can get those updates, because that is a big thing we have happening where we send out, hey, contact your rep about this, and then they're like, well, what happened? And I'm like, oh, and I have to continue doing the updates. So I love this tracking. This is so helpful. It's huge. Thank you.
I mean, we can just click on them real quick. Driver education amendments, that could be just a hot topic. So again, there's the bill. What you mentioned is, you know, where is the bill? Maybe you haven't been following it, so you're not even real sure where this is. Click on the status. This looks very jargony. It looks complicated. Kind of is, but basically it'll tell you everything that happened with the bill. It was numbered, it was announced. And now it's, you know, when it's in rules, it'll tell you it's in rules. It's gone through this rules committee here, and it was assigned to, you know, a different, whatever committee it's assigned to. Looks like this one was kind of an unusual bill. This one was actually heard during the summer, so it kind of bypassed some of the normal things. But it's gone to the Senate, and it was assigned to the Senate Transportation Public Utilities Committee. Again, if you clicked on that, you'd see the committee. You'd see the committee agendas, the committee members, things like that. But where are we right now? It's already been read twice in the Senate and voted on. So back in this column, these are the votes. You can click on the votes and see 4 senators voted for it. 4 just weren't there. These are mostly leadership, so frequently they're not in the committee. So it got no votes. So that kind of tells you where it is. So the Senate committee gave it a favorable recommendation, and it passed. So now it's going to go back for the full Senate to vote. So, and again, at any point you're interested in that bill, click the tracking page and sign up to get notifications on that. You can track as many bills as you want. One thing that is very helpful to you is to be involved in organizations that share an interest with you. So what Delaine's doing, what Corinne's doing, I know these groups will be following a lot of bills. There are groups that I trust that I know they're going to follow bills that I typically care about. So sometimes, following some organizations that are going to do a lot of this tracking for you, a lot of discussion, a lot of following of the bills to see how it changes along the way, and then informing their group, look, there's a vaccination bill that I'm watching very carefully. I'm hoping it gets a lot of changes. And if I can't follow it, I know some groups out there that will follow it, and I may just follow them and so I can get the updates on what's happening with this bill. So combining your advocacy, you as an individual voice is very, very powerful. I've taken more stock in a single individual telling me how a bill is going to impact them than some large groups or lobbying groups, but groups also have their impacts. And so very, very important that you find advocacy in addition to your own voice, but don't minimize your own voice. Very, very powerful, but multiple ways to get your voice out there, even through groups, even through lobbyists. Lobbyists have, they have an important role, as bad of a rap as they get. They are part of the education and advocacy. I had the lobbyists that I trusted more than others, that I knew I'm going to kind of get the straight scoop on legislation from. And I think most of the time they really do their part to try to give you, the legislators, good information, because they know if they don't, I'm not talking to them. So there's a role for the lobbyists as well. So.
Okay, Kim, while you're on that page, do you want to click on the hearings debate so that people can just see? They can also go there to hear as you were talking about, if they can't hear it live, they can go back and listen to a debate that happened.
So you bet. So as you see here, this is a previous committee hearing. I can click on the audio and listen to what happened there. There's the floor audio as well. It says audio, but there's typically a video with that too. Yeah. So I can see how this bill came up on the floor through the plexiglass partition that they have. So this is where Representative Ballard is presenting her bill on driver education. So again, yeah, you can listen to that. You can also download it if you want it for whatever reason you want to share with your organization, with your friends and family. So a lot of good tools to make this process of the people, by the people, for the people, very accessible. Makes America great, Utah great. Yeah, we can put all kinds of eyeballs on what our representatives are doing.
Oh, fantastic, Kim. What a great job. Thank you so much. I just want to let everybody know, Utah does have an award-winning website. It really is quite user-friendly. All the information is there. You can go find out really anything you want to know about any bill. And it's once you get using it, it's pretty user-friendly. I really like it. So let's just recap really quickly. Let's all be respectful when we're lobbying. When you send an email, be sure and put in the subject line, be sure and put the bill number, the bill name, because legislators get 900 to 1,000 bills. They're not going to know. If you put in HB 97, they're not going to know, more than likely, unless it's their bill, what that bill is. So if you put the number and the name, if they have the name, they can't look up the number. So they need both of those. And then if you're a constituent, it's a great idea to put I'm your constituent in there, unless they already know you. Yeah. You can also call or you can text. Now,
do it anyway. Put constituent in there because it may be the intern that is
right.
Emails.
Good point. Yes, very good point, Kim. That's excellent. Definitely call the interns, contact the interns, because that is their job. That's what they're doing. Where the legislator is doing 3 other things, The intern is there to be a liaison, to help, to connect you to your representative or your senator. So use the interns. And the numbers that we give out will be the actual legislator's phone number. We also are going to be giving out, which we have to some degree, but we'll also give you the interns' phone numbers. We have those. So definitely use the interns' numbers to text and to call. And if you want to meet with a legislator, would you suggest that they contact the intern in order to do that instead of the legislator themselves, Kim?
Always the intern. And I have just a quick anecdote. I had an intern that I found out after the session. There was a lobbyist who was rude to her. And so she would not give him access to me. She would not give him a meeting. And I was actually pretty proud of her for putting her foot down. So yeah, your interns are your gatekeepers. So be kind to them.
And really, the interns are quite fantastic. They're college, young college people, and they're terrific, and they really want to do a good job. Remember that it happens quickly. If you want to act on a bill, you better do it immediately because it moves very fast. And the legislators have a lot of texts and emails to read. You can testify on any bill in person in committee. You cannot testify on the floor, but you can testify in committee, either in person or via online. And Kim did an excellent job showing how to do that. So if you feel passionately about a bill and sharing some information or insight that you think you have, be sure and do that. And this is just one of my recommendations is most people make decisions based on emotion rather than by intellect. And so it's always good to kind of make it kind of emotional, make it something people can identify with, and then add in the facts and the truth, because the two of them are very compelling. So, okay, anything else that you want to add, Kim?
I just pulled up something called a reading calendar. When you look at under legislators, you click on the reading calendar. Also not a very intuitive phrase, but it is where the bills are going to be read. Third reading is the final, that every bill has to be heard 3 times. So if it's on the third reading calendar, this is the final vote in the House. HB means House bill, SB, Senate bill. So there are already a lot of bills that are going through the final and third, even though we're at the very beginning of the second week, a lot of bills are already hitting their third and final approval in the House. So if you want to know kind of what's coming up, maybe you're not particularly following, but you want to know what's hitting the end here, look at that reading calendar. Senate has the same. So that lets you know where things are.
Everyone noticed that 1 through 13, they're circled. There's a yellow circle around. Kim, why don't you tell us what that means?
Okay, what that means is the bills are heard in order. After they leave the committee successfully, they get popped up on this board and they're ready to hear. Now, when it got to Kelly Miles, higher education-based budget, some of the budget bills are going to sit there for a while. They're going to be worked for a couple weeks, but let's go to an actual kind of policy bill. Child protection unit amendments. For whatever reason, this bill was not ready, or Carrie Ann Lisenby, the sponsor, was not ready to have it heard. So she makes a motion to circle it. So it's circled and it keeps its place in line until she's ready to uncircle it and have it heard. So it just keeps the placeholder. Again, budget bills are going to sit there for a while because there's a lot of work still to do on budgets. Sobriety program, child protection, maybe there's an amendment coming. Typically that's why it's going to sit there for a minute, is because there's an amendment coming. They're still kind of working on some details. So this is what I'm watching, the vaccine reporting.
Yep.
We'll talk about later, but I'm glad it's circled and not moving forward.
Right, that's right. And there's some good substitutes coming out. Okay, Kim, you've been fantastic. Thank you so much, Corinne. We really appreciate you being with us. And we're going to end this, and then we will be doing a video that tells you about some of the bills that we are all following, so you can follow those too. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day and get engaged, because you are the standard of your liberty. It is your responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye. Thank you so much.